Exactly, guys. I want to tell you why having too many options distracts you from achieving your goals. Stick around for some motivation. Hey guys, I've been reading this really cool book called Predictably Irrational by Ariely, and it is incredible. And in there he tells us about this story, and it's a story that I've been hearing a lot of, and there is some truth to it, but I wanted to share with you and his views on it because I think it's really important. And it's all about why having far too many options can distract us from achieving our goals. Anyway, the story goes like this, and you may have heard this part. So in 210 BC, there was a military commander called Yang Yao. Probably got that wrong, and I apologise profusely if I did. However, he took his troops down the Yangtze River, and they pulled up one night, and they all got out of the boat, and they all set up camp, and then in the morning they woke up, and all the boats were on fire, and all the cooking rice pots were smashed to bits, and all the troops were up in air and they were giving it some big un, and what they realised was, quite quickly, that the military commander, Zhang Yu, had done this. He'd set all of the boats alight and crushed all the pots, because what he thought was that if he'd done that, then the troops had to go forward. There was no options. By burning the boats, he took away the option of the guys retreating. So the only option was for them to go forwards. Now, inherently this is weird because human beings like options. We like to have something we can fall back off, like, you know, like a just-in-case plan, or a plan B as it's often called when we get told about. But in doing so, he'd taken away those options. What he would have, you know, what most guys would have thought of is that they should have had someone behind the scenes, you know, with the boats ready, with cooking up food and all sorts. Anyway, he burnt the boats and he crushed the pots. Those guys, in history lessons that we get taught, went on to win 9 battles consecutively in the Qin dynasty. I'm probably saying that wrong as well, I apologise. However, they went forward and they won 9 battles, which is incredible. It's kind of unheard of in that, and it was a much superior force, but these guys didn't have any other options. Now, humans, as I say, like to have options. Like, we like to buy the big SUV. We like to buy the extended warranties, and the reason we do these things, the reason we buy the big SUVs, because we like to go, what if? And the reason to do it is because what if you do want to go off-road? What if I want to tow a caravan that we don't own? What happens if all this extra stuff? Why do we buy the extended warranty? Because actually sometimes we don't need it. You know, we might have bought something that you've had for years and you've never needed an extended warranty on it. It's just one of those things that they added extra, an extra option, a peace of mind option that we have. It's the same as when we buy things like laptops. You know, we buy these all singing, all dancing laptops if we can afford them, and, you know, not everybody can, but most of the time they've got so much more computing ability than we actually need, but we buy them because of the way it makes us feel and what goes on with them. Anyway, Ariely goes on to tell this story about how, because he's a university professor and he likes to do these social experiments which are phenomenal, and he tells a story about how a young girl comes to him and she's in crisis, and the reason she's in crisis is because she's got an old boyfriend and she's got a new boyfriend. Well, she's looking at this new guy. Now, the old boyfriend she's been with quite a long time, they've kind of fallen out of love and she's not really sure where to go with it. She doesn't know whether to get rid of him or not, but she wants to start this new romantic relationship with this new guy, which she says, you know, makes her feel a lot better and, you know, makes her feel more comfortable, but she's a bit concerned that, you know, if she goes to this new guy and it doesn't work out, she's losing the option of the old guy. Whereas actually, if she just let go of the old guy and go with the new guy, she's probably going to be a lot happier. Because of this, it sparked his mind a little bit, as Ariely, and he went on to do an experiment with the students at MIT in America, the university, and the experiment was about 3 doors. Now, this I find so interesting, it's unbelievable. And these 3 doors, he set this experiment where he's got 3 doors, one green, one red, one blue. And he challenged his students to click on a door with a mouse, you know, it's a computer game. And every time they clicked on a door, they'd receive a reward, so a financial reward. Now, each one had a different value behind it. Not a lot, like 1 pence, 2 pence, whatever, but it had a value. Quite quickly, these were clever kids, they were at MIT, remember? So they'd click on the first door, it'd give them, say, 2p. Next door, give them 3p. Next door, give them 1p. So they'd go refer back to the door that gave them the most value. Now they only had 100 clicks, and they'd just keep clicking, and they'd click all the way through, even if the value changed slightly. So if it went from 2p to 3p, they still repeatedly clicked this door. But they had the options there, but they went for the most value. Now where the interesting thing happens is what they decided to do is they wanted to take away some of the options, and they kept the values the same. What they did is that every 12 clicks of the mouse, the other doors would start to diminish, they'd start to disappear. Now because humans so intrinsically like to have options, the idea being that if they were to click on that door again, it would reappear. So even though the monetary value was less, they would re-click on that door. Even though they were going to earn less money, they did it. And 100% of the people who went through this computer game wanted the 3 doors for the loss of value. So they weren't earning as much, but they were clicking on the doors because they liked to have the options. And I find that absolutely incredible. It's this irrational excitement that we get, because why would they do that? The financial gain's not there, it's just having the option. So actually what we need to do in life is we need to close the doors, take away some of those options. Now the bigger the door, the harder that is. And you know, it is not easy to do, but if we're given too many options, then we can become very irrational with our decision making. So it comes down to this, that you can have 2 decisions eventually, that you can break it all down into having just 2 choices. Now 2 choices in itself might seem like it's a much easier option to sort of go with. However, as he explains in his book again, there is a story about a donkey. Now this donkey's pretty peckish, right? It's hungry, and it walks into a barn, and it's stood right in the middle at equal distance from 2 hay bales. Now these 2 hay bales are exactly the same in size, shape, deliciousness, whatever, but because the donkey stood right in the middle, it cannot decide which way to go. And unfortunately, the donkey dies of starvation because it just can't make a choice, because both choices are so appealing. So it's called Burden's Ass, and it's quite a long French philosophical thinker's story, but it's a really good story about how this donkey can't make its mind up. And when you get down to 2 choices, it reminded me quite clearly of a military leader that I served under, which was, he was incredible and he was so respected, and he didn't always get it right, but the reason he was such a good leader was because he made a decision and he stuck with it. Now that means that, you know, if he'd have been that donkey, he'd have gone, right, okay, I don't care either way, I'm just going to make a decision, I'm going to stick with it. So what we need to do, guys, is we need to narrow down the amount of options that we have until we can just make that quick clinical choice. So much so that we're trying a social experiment with this at the moment, and we're using the flip of a coin. We're breaking things down into having 2 choices, and we're using the simple flip of a coin. Heads for yes, tails for no. And we're going to try this social experiment for a little while, so I will report back on how it goes. However, take away some of your options, guys, and minimise it, and then make a decision and stick with it. Come hell or high water, just go with it. That, ladies and gentlemen, is the way that we're going to start achieving goals. So, be daring, be you, be all you can be the mindset peacock, because that is the way that we eliminate all our choices and just take 2 and make a decision and go with it. Thank you very much for watching. Hey guys, thank you so much for watching the video. If you did enjoy it and you liked it, please like, share, comment, all that good stuff. But remember to subscribe so you don't miss out on any of our future videos. There's so much more to come. We really appreciate your time. Thank you so much. Speak soon.